Okay, hi, welcome to this video. As promised, in this video I'm going to talk to you, okay, as I said in the last video, I'm going to do this in this video. I'm going to talk to you now about my experiences, or some of my experiences, training martial arts by myself in China. So that means when I wasn't training with teachers and stuff, like at different times, be it at the same time as training with teachers, but like at different times in the day or different times in the week, whatever. And also, like, during the years and years that followed where I wasn't having formal training from a teacher due to work and other things going on in my life. Okay, basically, martial arts has always been with me. I mean, I used to train by myself even when I was like back in England a little bit. But the discipline of the training that I had from the martial arts, I used to take it to the next level. So, meaning when I was training with teachers or with students, excuse me, when I was training with teachers, learning under them, I would always try and do double anyway. I would like always, if someone, for example, if a teacher, I got praised for this once too. I got praised for my speed and power of my kicks. I've also been praised for things like when we used to count like in groups. You know, when I was training in the schools, like in the past, and we used to do like punches and stuff. I would go one, two, and I would count both hands rather than one, two, and I'd always try and double things up and put extra effort in. I'd come early, I'd stand at the front, even though like I was low level, I weren't. Or even when I was a new student, things like that, I would always put my heart in 100%, double 200%, and do double than anyone thought I was worth, because I was always seen as weak anyway because of my quiet nature, and I've been bullied previously in my life. So I was, through the martial arts, which is the forging of myself, I was trying to show the teachers that were teaching me that I was really honestly trying to learn this thing, and I'm about self-help. Regardless of what people think, me being quiet, I'm about self-help, and I'm about the arts of the martial arts. And people saw that, luckily. Some of them did. So I didn't care how tough people were around me, I would always do double the effort in just my own self-training to help myself. So let's get back to what I'm saying. So my solo training was no different. I continued to, it was more intense, very, very intense. I trained very, very hard. I trained at home. I trained outside. I trained in all weathers. I trained with snow up to my knees in early times. I used to wake up around 3:20 in the morning and train before I went out to work. Meaning, like, I knew I had to work out anyway, so I would work out before I went to learn with a teacher, and then I'd go to work from there. I'd have to run to go to learn from my teacher too. I'd wake up in the morning and do stretching in the freezing cold snow in the northeast of China, in the pitch black of darkness. And the reason I would wake up at 3:20 in the morning most days is because early in the morning, there's a lot of people that like to wake up early in China. You see some old people that come out from their houses and they want to do some exercise. It's great, right? But I didn't want anybody to see me there, the foreigner, doing this kung fu. And it's one thing to be embarrassed, but it's not only that. It's like they would come over and start talking to me. They may have been friendly, but it's a distraction from my training. I wasn't some silly foreigner playing around. I was trying to help myself and discipline myself, the same as the monks that I'd seen online who were training in the temples far away. I was just living in an urban environment, but I was going to put my mind into that because I was watching all kinds of stuff. I was in a hard time in my life. I was going through a hard time. I had other situations going on in my life, and the martial arts was a way of meditating and forgetting about anything else or anybody else. And it was really a sheer focus, because I was living in a time where I was living under someone's roof almost like a prisoner, and having money taken from me, and that lasted for about 7 or 8 years, like a kind of extortion thing. I feel I was living like a slave prisoner to someone. It was a horrible time, but martial arts helped me focus, and luckily I had that mental and physical discipline. I took the discipline from all the martial arts training I had formerly and in the past. I took all the passion that I had to survive from the hardships and the things I'd faced, and plus my being alone and isolated, and plus the past bullying I had had to go through growing up, everything, being far from home or any true connection with anybody else. I was in a foreign land, I couldn't speak the language, and there was nobody around me also to actually really be truly 100% honestly caring. I was just lucky I had a roof over my head and I was living with someone, and as I said, it was a hard time, but it was okay. I had food in my belly, and I was earning money for other people basically. So, but the martial arts was in me, and I had that, and that was the belief. And I took this philosophy from old school kung fu movies and stuff I watched growing up, and I made it real in myself. Yeah, I'm not the toughest guy. I'm not the kind of person I'd get into a fight and be able to take on whoever as easy as that. But I was able to train and forge myself. I watched documentaries on the forging of how they traditionally forged ancient katana swords for the samurai day. I watched documentaries about prisons, about how people are in prison, but they have to stay focused and, not be distracted and that confined in that space, but they had to focus. And I used to watch all kinds of things like that and stay focused and think, I have to pull through and find the freedom in my mind to be free in life. It was very nerve-wracking coming to China and becoming a teacher. I've been working as an English teacher in colleges and universities. Most of the students were like polite-ish, but there were some rude ones, and it was really hard to communicate, especially when I couldn't even speak Chinese back in the day before I learned more Chinese. And it was very intimidating. I was a quiet person. I didn't really like to be in front of crowds, let alone stand there and talk to massive rooms of people, auditoriums and classrooms. Very scared, but I couldn't go back to the UK because of difficult reasons in my life. I couldn't really survive. So the martial arts was a way of meditating mind and body and focusing on forging myself to stay focused and healthy mind, healthy body. And it wasn't a rage inside me, and it was more like it was a positive thing. I love the training. I used to train before they used to wake up other people, and before they used to come out of the house and train. So I used to do my training really early in the pitch black in the snow before the other people would wake up to do their early morning workouts. Crazy, right? But it was hardcore training. I used to train with weapons, used to train the stance work, the flexibility, whole regiment workouts and the forms and everything. I used to do that many times to get the moves right and everything, Really good. And even like when I was training with the teachers, learning like the wushu forms and things, even then, like the teacher would tell me to do it once or twice, and I would end up doing it 4 times, 8 times or whatever, and continue training when it started to rain even. I used to do a lot of walking and exploring, walk training in all different kinds of weather by myself. For many years, I was training in college campuses and stuff in the places where I worked. In the summer or the winter when there was nobody around on the campuses, big empty college campuses. I used to train in the sports fields, anywhere, in the buildings, around the buildings, in other colleges and stuff that I didn't even work at, just places I used to just go to, and they were empty for the holiday, I used to go in and find little areas and explore in the thick snow, and it was just my land, I was in this white, snowy land of these urban buildings, the northeast of China. Some of it reminds you of like parts of Russia, it looks like. But I used to train, I used to go to parks and anywhere I could to train, day and night, that is. Not night, but so early morning and then also times in the day. We used to be able to get full pay for our wages for the holidays, and we used to have like a month or 2 months off work. So what was I going to do? Make a lot of videos and do martial arts training, obviously. So I'd train my martial arts by myself whenever I was bored, and I'd make videos and I'd upload videos of my training. Ever since 2008, I was inspired by other martial artists who were filming their training or sharing some kind of knowledge. Not everybody's an expert, but they were sharing what they knew, and it gave me a bit of confidence to share. So I started to make videos of my training and, record my life, and it become like ever since 2008 until now I've been recording my life training. So there's quite a lot of footage you're going to see online on various channels of me training at home and outside and doing all kinds of martial arts training in the snow, the sunny weather, burning without even any water, but it's like crazy, just training. I was so passionate about the martial arts. I developed my own training methods too. I'd start to train on trees. Now, when you're training on a tree, it's not really good to attack nature, I know, but for conditioning, it's really good. Now, you don't want to break your fists by punching trees or kicking and hitting, but gradually and controlled, you can get a little bit of conditioning for your arms and everything. And I've been training that for many years, and my arms were fairly toughened up anyway because I did a lot of southern Kung Fu training before, as I said, 5 Animal Kung Fu back in the day, and the Wing Chun and everything. And I started to train my Wing Chun and combine that with the Tai Chi, what I'd learned before, and just combine all different kinds of training and just flow it all in there. And I was like mastering myself with all of this martial arts knowledge that I knew within me and training. I'm not showing off to try and show off or anything, but I was making videos of training so I can look back on it too. Okay. And yeah, I just love training. So I trained my ass off basically, and I was just always walking around. The amount of walking I'd done, did a bit of running, but it was mostly walking around and making videos on the philosophy of martial arts and stuff, and finding areas I can train at. That actually was part of the training too. There's so much training that I've done in myself over the years in the discipline of my absolute discipline. It's been some of the stuff that some people would never be able to go through, let alone put themselves through, I think. There's got to be a drive or some kind of fear or some kind of drive that makes you do something like that. And I've literally been through so much, and it is some of the training I've been through has been some of the hardest, and that's not even including the martial arts training, even the actual situations I've been in. See, martial arts is about life. But I took everything I learned and I took it to the next stage. I started creating my own ways and flows and just exploring my body and the way I can move and the philosophy of the martial arts, and sharing through videos too. And I've made hundreds and thousands of videos, some videos being 2 minutes, some being 4 hours in length over the last all of these years, ever since 2008, sharing videos on martial arts and the philosophy of it, as well as my thoughts on other martial arts, and as well as all of my other stuff like my art, animation, music, and talk videos and other things, just sharing communication. So I want to say thank you for watching this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about my experiences teaching people martial arts, which I have some humble experience teaching people martial arts. I'll tell you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video.